There's this thing that keeps ringing at the back of my mind. You don't want to live in a country where you're always reminded that you're a foreigner. You don't want to live in a country wherever you're walking.
I feel like we don't talk about this a lot.
Enough, yeah. And then you always have your passport with you because anytime anything can just go off. I think it's crazy. I think it's sad for another African to treat you differently, but when another different skinned person comes in their country, they treat him like they're treating the heavens. That is so terrible because how can you not love your brother when you and then you tend to love someone else?
Yeah, that's true. What can you account that to?
What do you mean?
What can you say leads people to treating, because this happens to in
because
the
we're taught that the white person is a savior.
Oh, okay.
We're taught, colonialism taught us that the white person is a savior, they're superior. So even themselves, they even feel like they're superior to us. South Africa was amazing. South Africa is a part of me that can never be taken away from me. For me, South Africa is like my second home, as much as...
Hi, my kings and queens, and welcome back to another interesting, intriguing, and most importantly, expository episode for today. Guys, we are back with another one, and from your requests, you guys want to see or hear more from other country citizens, their opinion, their input, their knowledge, and generally their reactions about countries in Africa. Yes. And for today, we have two citizens from the continent of Africa, one on this hand from the country Kenya, and on the other hand from Zimbabwe. Yes, a Zimbabwean and a Kenyan. Yes, these people have got their own experience, shares, and whatsoever we might want to call it as their own opinion, reactions, and commentary about South Africa. Yes, and I kind of see it very interesting and very, very good for us to sit down as citizens, especially as South Africans, hear from them, because sometimes I love to hear when people talk about me or my country, what people think in general, and I think that's the same way some South Africans or most of you actually feel, right? So let's hear what this Zimbabwean and this Kenyan have to say based on their own experiences. Yes, maybe as tourist resident for the Zimbabwean and as tourist on this hand, compare, liking, and read through the lines what they actually are pointing out. Then at the end or towards the end, I will come back and give my own input, my reactions and opinion. Now, before we head off, let's kindly hit on the like button. Please, I beg of you, share this video and stay subscribed if this is your first time here. Now, let's do this.
There's this thing that keeps ringing at the back of my mind. You don't want to live in a country where you're always reminded that you're a foreigner. You don't want to live in a country wherever you're walking.
I feel like we don't talk about this a lot.
Enough, yeah. And then you always have your passport with you because anytime anything can just go off. I think it's crazy. I think it's sad for another African to treat you differently, but when another different skinned person comes in their country, they treat him like they're treating the heavens. That is so terrible because how can you not love your brother when you and then you tend to love someone else?
Yeah, that's true. What can you account that to?
What do you mean?
What can you say leads people to treating, because this happens to
because we're taught that the white person is a savior.
Oh, okay.
We're taught, colonialism taught us that the white person is a savior, they're superior. So even themselves, they even feel like they're superior to us. South Africa was amazing. South Africa is a part of me that can never be taken away from me. For me, South Africa is like my second home, as much as...
Have you ever known someone for a long time and looked for a time that you're going to reconnect? Because you two are travelers, you keep exploring different places until one day the stars align. Ta-da!
Hey guys, how you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing alright. Or with my audience, I say, hey, what I do?
Okay.
My name is Tina Sparks.
Yeah.
I call myself, my name is Tina Sparks, your favorite African without borders. And I'm so happy to be on this channel.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. First, I also have to say thank you so much for the continued support that you've shown me for a long time. She's been following my journey for like a good long time. I also knew her like when she was living in another country, and now we're in Zimbabwe, and that we're going to be talking about that whole conversation about just living in different African countries and what that experience has to offer. Right, are you ready?
I'm born ready.
Okay. Yeah, so that means it's a minute for you guys to confirm that you're ready. And how you know if you're ready, if you have subscribed to the channel. Okay, please subscribe to mean you're ready. Okay. So take us through the journey. I'm even keen to know. Initially, when I contacted you, I thought you're South African.
For real?
Yeah, because you used to live in South Africa. Yeah. So you can tell us where you're from and things like this.
Oh, okay. So I'm Zimbabwean.
Okay.
My name is Tino Tenda. It's a Shona name meaning we are grateful.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was born and partly bred in Zimbabwe. Partly bred because I've grown up in South Africa.
Yeah.
And the reason why, I think if you know much about Zimbabwe, we look at South Africa as like a greener pasture. We used to look at South Africa as like our greener pastures. In terms of maybe better, because the economy is better. Yeah. I'm not sure now because I haven't been. Yeah, but like the economy seemed better.
Okay.
things were working well, and like partly bred in Zimbabwe. And if you know any news about Zimbabwe back then in the early 2020, I don't know, but around those, there was an era where South Africa used to be like what everyone would say the American dream to Southern Africa.
Oh, okay.
Everyone wanted to go. I'd like to say the African dream back then, I think.
The news have been sold of how they have good roads, how it's beautiful, how it's amazing. Even before, like even Kenyans, you'd hear Kenyans say, if you go to South Africa, you come back, you're shook. Every African they visit South Africa.
Yeah. So I guess it was the same for us. But then our relationship with South Africa was different because even being raised, our grandparents, I was raised by my grandparents, even those who were raised by their parents, they can tell that their mothers used to go to South Africa. We used to do arts and crafts in Zimbabwe. They didn't have that in South Africa, so they would go even to South Africa to sell those things. So for every young mother, the dream was to go and sell something in South Africa. And used to go these women cross borders. So basically, I was part of the
borders.
I was not a cross border, but I also had that dream because I finished my college. So basically, there was a point in time when things went bad in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
And
like economy? Or?
Yeah, economy-wise. Yeah. I think that was 2008. It was around the time when we had hyperinflation, I mentioned earlier. Yeah. And everyone kept leaving, and then our finances were not doing so well. And I had to leave. I had to leave, and I left. And I didn't just leave because I wanted to leave, but then because my guardians then had left, and everyone else was also leaving, and because I was in the care of my guardians, I don't remember. I don't really have strong family background. But then I just found myself in South Africa. Yeah. So I've been going to school there. So I did my high school there.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting because I got to that country because it's my first time outside in outside my country.
Zimbabwe.
They have this different accent. They're reading a book.
So you're welcomed with culture shocks immediately.
Immediate culture shock. And then when I start reading, they're also shocked, like, this girl, how is she reading? Because you already have a Zimbabwean accent, you're still saying. And then the bus went, it's 77 and not 77. There's something else. So I did my high school there, and I came back to Zimbabwe after a whole lot of things. One thing I did my national exams in Zimbabwe. Okay. So I also came back to Zimbabwe to do my varsity. So I did my university in Zimbabwe, but the University of Zimbabwe, the best university in Zimbabwe. What are you talking about?
Okay. What's the name?
The University of Zimbabwe. So I know everybody knows Robert Mugabe.
Yes.
That's the university.
Okay.
So you already know. So I did my varsity, and then after that I then made that decision to say I didn't look hard enough, but like there was no hope. Because the kind of degree that I took is a public service degree. I did public administration, and I had gone looking for attachment. I've not gotten because it's a general thing that the public service, there are people who are old and they don't want to retire. I think it's an African problem that we can't be shy to talk about because these things need to be rectified. And can't be shy to talk about because these things need to be rectified. And so there was no hope for me. If I was gonna get attachment, it's zero payment. But like I had the ambition to start developing myself after college because that is what is expected. So I decided to move to South Africa. So then I went to South Africa. I had family to take me in. It was amazing. My aunt and then another aunt, and then I've just been trying to develop myself from there. Yeah.
How was life there? Now you've settled in, you're no longer experiencing culture shocks, or were you still experiencing some?
South Africa was amazing. South Africa is a part of me that can never be taken away from me. Yeah. For me, South Africa is like my second home. As much as you meet people, an average person who doesn't like Zimbabweans, but like the majority of the people that I've encountered life with, they've been amazing.
Oh, that's good.
They're so loving, and I can never take that away from me. You understand?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So you stayed there for how long after adult moving?
I don't remember, but in total I've stayed over 10 years. I've stayed in South Africa for over 10 years, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At what point did you decide now I want to come back? Because this is the interesting part. I knew anytime I'm coming to South Africa, I am going to meet you. Until I'm texting you and you're like, hey, I'm now in Zimbabwe. Ta-da!
So what was your question?
Like, how do you now start thinking, I want to go back to Zimbabwe?
Oh, okay. So I've lived in South Africa. I've loved it. I've explored South Africa. I'm enjoying it. Okay. But there's this thing that keeps ringing at the back of my mind. You don't want to live in a country where you're always reminded that you're a foreigner. You don't want to live in a country wherever you're walking.
I feel like we don't talk about this a lot.
Enough, yeah. And then you always have your passport with you because anytime anything can just go off. I think it's crazy. I think it's because there's a number of undocumented South Africans, undocumented Zimbabweans in South Africa, and it's a big deal. It's a huge Home Affairs, big deal, and they're not playing. And it's not just, if it was like the Home Affairs, it was okay, you understand? Because like you can meet an average person who's just trying to harass their way out of you, and they're not going to do you any justice. They'll harass you, and you're not safe. So I got sick and tired of getting reminded, and it's a certain word that I hate that word. There's that certain word that they call Zimbabweans, foreigners in South Africa. I hate that word, and I was just like, man,
you can't.
I'm up to here. Sengla, I'm leaving, guys. I'm leaving. But that's one of the things that contributed to it. Another thing that contributed to it is I didn't have a very favorable encounter with, as far as safety is concerned. I haven't talked about it yet, but maybe with time I'll talk about it. But I was just like, I think this is the time to then give up, because no ways, man.
Okay, so like that's whatever encounter you went through came as a, this is the sign you were looking for.
No, it didn't happen just once. So these things happen maybe in the workspace. I think many men want to take advantage of Zimbabwean women, and it's only up when you want to stand up for yourself, because hell no.
Oh, okay.
No one's going to take advantage of me like that. But then, how many people are as strong as me? So even in the workspace, you'd find that kind of harassment, and you can't go anywhere because you need the money, you need the job. I was very privileged that I wasn't at rock bottom, because I had a family in South Africa. This one time, there was an experience that was so favorable for me.
So you had somewhere to fall back to.
I was like, you know what, I'm leaving today. I slept the boss. Like, I didn't like what you did to me. And I left, because he tried to take advantage of me. And because I'm like,
I'm really interested in these conversations, because for the longest time I used to think about me. I'm a Kenyan. I'm happy in Kenya. I don't care about other places. I'll just visit you guys, until life happened onto me and I got married to an American, and now I have to think about this whole idea of going to another country altogether. Now talking about the real moving, like being an immigrant or an expat, depending on how you want to call it, or depending on who you're talking about and stuff like this. And I'm now more interested in these conversations, just so we can also normalize some things. Also know that whatever you could be going through, or the thoughts that you have, you're maybe not alone. For example, one thing I freak out about America is the constant thought of how Africans are not loved there, and how we are perceived differently, which you could say is almost similar for the Zimbabweans in South Africa.
But you know what's said? Sorry to cut you. What's said? For another African to treat you differently, but when another different skinned person comes in their country, they treat him like they're treating the heavens. That is so terrible, because how can you not love your brother when you and then you tend to love someone else?
Yeah, that's true. What can you account that to?
What do you mean?
What can you say leads people to treating? Because this happens to
because we're taught that the white person is a savior.
Oh, okay.
We're taught, colonialism taught us that the white person is a savior, they're superior. So even themselves, they even feel like they're superior to us. Yeah, not to sound racist, but it is what it is. We didn't create colonialism; it was created for us. You know.
It's crazy how sometimes you see Africans, and I've seen this in different countries, and we need to continue educating each other. We live life hoping like someone is coming to save our situation, like someone is coming to save us, and we are the ones to save ourselves.
I don't think someone is gonna. There's no savior. We are all saviors.
Yeah.
And I keep even this concern.
Yeah.
Why do we have to wait for someone to come and tell us what to do with our resources when we can trade amongst ourselves in Africa as Africans? I mean, Nigeria has oil. I mean, Congo has all these minerals. There's diamond. In Zimbabwe, there's lithium. Why are we trading with other nations outside Africa when our own people are suffering? And even as us, the owners of the minerals, we're not even getting much value out of it.
Yeah. This is a whole diversion, but the concept is Africa is very rich, but we end up being poor, or like the transition of that richness is not necessarily reflecting in our day-to-day life.
I could show it's not showing. It doesn't show in our skin.
Yeah, so okay, let's go back to the perspective. Okay, the perspective has been painted. This is the place. Okay, then you decide I am going to the place. It is still someone's dream to go to the place, but you decide, you know what, I am leaving the place.
Yeah.
How was that?
I think for me, experience is the best teacher.
Okay.
So I'd like to say the grass is greener where you water it.
Oh, that's true.
And then a famous YouTuber keeps saying east or west, home is always best.
Yeah.
And I think I've realized that because I'm not the first returnee from South Africa. And I think if you guys want this perspective, you could just keep following returning home from South Africa to Zimbabwe. You can see a whole lot of videos of that. And then many people are coming back to Zimbabwe with nothing.
Oh, okay. Why? How?
Because the lifestyle is okay, but it can just sustain you from hand to mouth unless you really have what they call critical skills. Then you have a proper job, and then it's high paying. and things like that. But it's very rare.
Okay, what's like a critical skill?
It's a critical skills work visa. Like critical skills are things like engineering, medicine, maybe law.
Okay.
But like if you have any other profession that's not really, that's not a critical skill, so it's hard to get a job and get paid for it properly. And I mean, the job market has been going down like this. And I think that's how Zimbabwe started. It's going down like this. So it's crazy. So when I left the place, like you're saying, one of the contributing reasons was like, okay, South Africa has done me well. I love South Africa. Yeah. It's been good to me. But then I went on for a period of 3 years, or is it 5 years? I realized that my earning was not enough. My earning had not increased. No matter how hard I tried, it was just not working. I had someone who was working under me, but they're earning more than me because they're South African, and when you try to ask, they try to remind you that you're Zimbabwean.
Oh my goodness.
So it was just twisted me, and I was like, you know what, I'm trying to develop myself. I'm not broke, but I don't have anything in my bank account. I'm literally broke. I'm not suffering, but I'm broke.
Your lifestyle is good.
Your lifestyle is good because you can afford to go to the mall, buy an outfit because it's cheap. You can afford to go eat at a restaurant, so you're looking nice, you're looking pretty. But then, bless you, it doesn't count because I want to look pretty in my bank account. You understand? Yeah. I want to look pretty in my bank account. So I was just like, you know what, I'm not getting any younger. So
yeah. So how's the transition? Because many people are looking into transiting back, but then maybe they have fear of the unknown. They don't know what even people will think about them deciding to forego everything they've worked over there to come back home. Life has changed. It's maybe not the same way you left it as. Yeah, how was it transiting back home?
I won't lie to you and say, oh, it's all rosy, or it's all rosy in Zimbabwe. It's not all rosy in Zimbabwe. Yeah, my transition was super tough. I was telling you that when I came back, I was sleeping on the floor because obviously transporting all the stuff that I'd acquired in South Africa was more expensive for me than the cost I incurred when buying them. So it wasn't necessary. So I came back home with just my bags full of clothes and literally with no savings. I think I had like a month's rent or two. And that was it. I was struggling. I struggled because I then wanted something for myself. And also because my life is twisted like this, guys. But then I struggled. And then, thank goodness, life has been better. Life has been good. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else than rather being in Zimbabwe because I've grown so much. I've grown so much as a person. I've healed so much because there's a certain kind of trauma that comes with certain experiences in life that you really want to heal. So I've really healed. And then also, like in terms of investments, I'm doing so good. Nice. I also started my investments when I was in South Africa. Like I was not serious because like I bought land. My mom and I were buying land. We're helping each other and we were trying to build the house. And then we were almost trying to finish it. But like I wasn't doing it proper because I had no idea I wasn't there. But then like now I'm here. I even started another project and now I'm doing it. I'm hands-on. It's a different feeling altogether. Like then the energy that you put in the investment is quite different. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, amazing.
All right, guys. A lot has been said. I quite acknowledge the matured conversation that these two ladies have had here. Remember, disclaimer, this is their own opinion and we all are entitled to our various opinion, right? But coming from me as an observer in Nigerian, where I really want to touch on is where the Zimbabwean, because as you can see, she was being interviewed or questioned by the Kenyan lady, right? Where I feel I have a thing or two to say is, already Zimbabweans in the history of South Africa has always not been on a clean slate. I think it's been like that, just similar to Nigeria and Nigerians, okay? And when people say they feel embarrassed, they feel somehow weird being called foreigners, I still don't get it because if I am not a citizen of any country, whom am I? I am a foreigner. A foreigner is not a derogatory word. Let's get this. It's not a derogatory word or derogatory description. It's just a way of identifying whom you are. If you are not a citizen of the country, then you are a foreigner or a visitor or an external body or person, as the case may be. And I don't see why people feel uncomfortable or feel demeaned when they are regarded as foreigners or called foreigners. But sometimes when I put out these videos here, I still see some South Africans say Lesothos, Zimbabweans, and other neighboring countries are not foreigners. They are part of them. And on the other hand, I still have people who say these people are foreigners. They are not citizens. So in a real context or in a real context, I would say that if you are not a citizen, whether by naturalization, by birth, or what have you, you are a foreigner, right? And we shouldn't take it as an offense. So on this hand, she has shared deep points and experience as a Zimbabwean. And I want to also say that the reason why most Zimbabwean, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is as a result of like what I said earlier on, Zimbabweans' actions and inactions, illegally coming into the country, doing things, unaliving, making the country South Africa in a nutshell unbearable and uncomfortable for its citizens, right? With all the things they do. And you don't expect that at the end of the day, when a particular country citizens are fond of doing the wrong things, it becomes a thing of resentment, it becomes a thing of suspicion, and it becomes a thing that at the end of the day, the said people who are victims will definitely not want to find it very easy to go by, easy to relate, easy to associate with those countries. Like, for instance, I've got some South Africans say, pure before meeting or knowing me, they have always felt like all Nigerians are the same. But it is not a thing to it is not a good thing to consider all country citizens as the same, because in every 12 there must be a Judas, right? So it is just that vast majority of these countries that perpetrate crime always are found guilty, right? So at the end of the day, I will not feel offended. I don't feel offended. I will not feel bad if they say a Nigerian did this, a Nigerian did that, or Nigerians who are foreigners did this and that. I don't need to take it as an offense, because in every rumor there's an atom of truth. Yesterday you saw the video of the Nigerian pastor, what he did in South Africa and how South Africans are handling his matter. Now, will you totally overrule that those people are not foreigners? They are foreigners, illegal foreigners at that. So at the end of the day, I just want to straight up something here, that no matter whom you are, your experience in any country, it should be on the grounds that you should not put or fault the country in question for any reason whatsoever, because they have their own share and experience of foreigners in their country. And when you see them reacting or acting a certain way, it is as a result of what they have experienced. So don't take it out on South Africans. And the best thing I will always advise every country citizen is try to go back and build. Just like she said, she's building and she started a new life and she's doing pretty good. Fine. It's never going to be rosy or easy anywhere. Even the South Africa that they say is like the heavens of heavens, it's never going to be easy for you to even make the best out of it, because it is always a process, right? Whether you're a foreigner or a citizen, it is not even easy for the citizens as South Africans. So you see, talk more of foreigners. Foreigners as a matter of fact, from what I learned, are even the one benefiting more than some, citizens, right? So you see, anyways, these are the observations I have here, and I don't know what you think, because there are a lot of points that have been made here, even where they say South Africans see the white people as God or savior and sees the black. These comments have always been repeatedly made by so many foreigners. Yes, and as a Nigerian, I've never lived in South Africa. I cannot say anything about that, because I don't know how factual and true it is. So as a South African, this is where I need your opinion, your input. What do you think about everything that has been said here? Let's have this conversation constructively and respectfully, without sentiment, emotions, and bias, right? Exactly. Let's keep it matured in the comment section. And at this point, if you are yet to like this video, please, for my sake, give this video a huge and a massive thumbs up. Share this video and stay subscribed if you are not. And time to time, more conversations and discussions like this will be coming up on this channel, so you don't want to miss out. Right now, hit on the subscription button and give this video, like I said, a huge and a massive thumbs up. Yes, keeping it real, happy, safe, and blessed, coming from your one and only Tando, aka Victoria Chinyere, and I will see you in my next one. Ciao ciao.